Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kyra, and here on my channel we are all about real makeup for real life and real people. So today's video is very exciting. It is a brand new tag out on the BeauTube atmosphere, and it is the 21 questions tag created by Allie Glines here on YouTube. I absolutely adore Allie. She's one of the sweetest people personality-wise that I ever watch on YouTube, and she's just very refreshing. I always leave her videos with a positive state of mind, and with all of that, let's get into the tag. The first question is, what is the oldest makeup product in your collection? So as a creator here on YouTube for the last 3 years, I do have sort of a rotating door of products in and out of my life, but the oldest product still currently in my collection is the number 7 Match Made bronzer, and I happen to have this shade Caramel. I have a good amount of pan in here. I love this bronzer, silky smooth, and this was my very first bronzer when I started watching YouTube a little over 3 years ago. And I don't even remember if anybody specifically recommended this or if I just purchased it because it was at Target, which was the closest place to me to purchase makeup at the time. But it's stayed in my collection for good reason, but I might be trying to use this one up this year because it is the oldest. Number 2, what is your most recent makeup purchase? Well, I got the Natasha Denona Love Cheek Duo palette. I could just do this all day. It's so reminiscent of some of the toys that we had back in the 80s and 90s, but inside it looks like this. The embossing, the heart embossing on the highlighter is so pretty, and I just am smitten with this color story. The highlighter is very like gold, like you can see it's a duochrome, so it's like champagne, and then it's also pinky, and it pairs beautifully with this coral cream blush. And you guys know I'm really into creams these days, even with my oily skin, and I've only worn this once because it is so new, but I am really excited about this. If we want to talk about my most recent purchase that isn't here to me yet, won't be here for a little bit, it is the Thrive Cosmetics Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara. I saw it over on Amazon and I was ordering a cleanser for my face anyways, so I picked that up, but it will be some time before it gets here. Number 3, what was the first makeup product you ever used? And for me, the first makeup product I purchased for myself to use on myself was was definitely mascara, and it was probably L'Oreal Feather Lash. If I can find a picture of it, I'll put it up, but that was my favorite mascara for years until they discontinued it. And I just loved that stuff. It just made the lashes very feather-like and long and beautiful, fluffy. So that was definitely the first thing I probably used, other than maybe like some lip glosses, things like that. I've always been like a chapstick lip balm kind of enthusiast, if you will, but probably mascara. The next 2 were really kind of hard, but number 4 is a makeup trend that I used to love, but now I don't. And for me, that was matte. Matte foundation, matte powders, things like that. Because I was such an oily girl and even acne prone for quite a few years, I just wanted to mattify my face and have it be matte. But now my skin's more under control, as well as I like a more dewy look like this. I am totally fine with that. I just realized my face and my neck don't match real well. I was trying out a new powder today, and it's been a long time since I used like a tinted or colored face powder, I've always used translucent for a long time, and so that might be the culprit. Yikes. But yes, matte products. I'm much more into cream products and dewy products now. I don't want to be dewy, but I don't want to be matte, that's for sure. And then a makeup trend that I used to hate that I now love, hate's a strong word, but I would have to say winged liner. And I still cannot apply a liquid liner for anything. Like, it just doesn't work for me. My hands shake a lot because of various health issues, and so it's just one that's super duper hard for me. But I have figured out how to accomplish a wing with either a kohl pencil, or I now have a gel eyeliner in a little pot, and I can use not a paintbrush, I can use a brush, which I'm more comfortable with because I'm more comfortable with paintbrushes since I paint with acrylics. So that is that. Number 6, favorite step in your makeup routine. I don't think this will surprise anyone, and I'm gonna break the rules and give you 2. Definitely eyeshadow. I have so many eyeshadow palettes, and for good reason, because like I said, I do paint with acrylic paints, and I do mostly landscapes and things like that, but I do love playing with color. And so for me, every time I buy a new eyeshadow palette, it's a lot like buying a new palette of paints. You know, how I can mix these or combine these to create a look or a color story that I'm feeling in the moment. So definitely eyeshadow. I don't think anybody's surprised about that, and probably not about this either. But my other favorite step is blush. I love blush. I just feel like that is when the complexion and the face really comes alive. Whether you're wearing foundation or not, I just feel that the minute you add blush to the cheeks, you just look like you're alive, and you know, that blood is pumping and you're awake and you look fresh. And I just love blush, which is why, again, I have so many. Next is number 7, a makeup product that you cannot live without. And for me, that's mascara. It's always been mascara. Now, I definitely would prefer to have some brows on, but at the same time, I cannot live without mascara. I think it finishes off the look. It's just so interesting how adding mascara to the lashes can really just change your entire perspective on an entire look. There's be times where up until the very point where I'm finishing my eyeshadow, I'm like, I do not like this look. This is garbage. I'm going to take it off. I really don't want to trust the process. And I do trust the process, and I at least apply mascara to see. And a lot of times I end up liking it, like altogether liking it. And I also have really light lashes. I do have quite long lashes, and I'm very thankful for that. But I have very light colored eyelashes, and so if I don't wear mascara, I feel like it doesn't look like I have any eyelashes, and especially if I'm applying eyeshadow, which I typically am. But even if I'm just running out the door real quickly to go run errands or something, I'm probably going to slap on some blush and some mascara. Number 8, what sparked your love for makeup? And this is kind of a couple of things / people. First and foremost, my younger sister Emma introduced me to BeauTube, the beauty community here on YouTube. She started recommending people. She all of a sudden was watching YouTube and started getting into makeup and was really excited about it. And we're super duper close, even though we're 12 years apart. We have a lot of common interests. She also paints, things like that. And so she's like, you know, she kept pestering me. She's like, you gotta watch this Jessica Braun and Emily Noel and other people, Dramatic Mac back in the day. And so I was like, all right, you know, like when she was 9 years old and I was raising my first child, I was reading the Harry Potter books right alongside of her because I wanted to know what she was into. My little sister, then YouTube. And once I started watching YouTube, Emily Noel and Jessica Braun all of the way. And they're still my top 2. 3 years later, those are the people that I will click out of another video to go watch their videos as immediately after I see them uploaded or as soon as possible. I also love Allie Glines. I do the same thing with her, not just because this is her tag, but there's a good handful of people that I'm like, these are my ride or die people. Mandy Lee is another person, Julia Adams MUA, but the person or the people that started all for me were Emily Noel and Jessica Braun, and they really gave me the confidence to go ahead and start my own channel. And my sister and I started talking about it, and we decided that we were both going to start our own channels. She's since moved on. She leads a very beautiful, busy, charmed life. She is a chef and she teaches culinary school, and so she's very busy and doesn't have time for YouTube anymore. But I'm so thankful and so glad that it sparked a love for makeup in me. The next ones are gonna be fun. The first one is the worst makeup look I have ever done. The one that I ultimately decided on was this look that I created for a series that I used to do with my girl Anya Stamper here on YouTube, and I'll link her as well as Angela, which is Beauty and Life with Angela, down in the description for you. Anya and I used to do this series called Inspired By, and we would create looks that were inspired by people or things or what have you on Instagram that inspired or influenced the way that we were doing our makeup. And we would recreate one of their looks or a look inspired by one of their looks. And this particular time, I forget her name because it isn't her name, it's a something else, but I'll put it up on the screen here, both her look and my look. It was this huge like turquoise winged out look, very editorial, like I knew that getting into it and everything, but mine, it just looked so heavy and dramatic on my face that I just did not like it. It was paired with like this coral lip, and I really didn't have kind of the right coral, and so it kind of clashed with it and everything, and it just was like not my best moment. But you know, that wasn't what the series was about. The series was about creating looks that were inspired by people that inspire us. All right, and then number 10, the favorite makeup look you've ever done. This was actually pretty easy with me. It came to mind right away. I did have to scroll way back on my Instagram to find the pictures to share with you today, but this was a look that I created with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette for Valentine's Day, and I just felt so freaking cute in this whole ensemble, including the scarf in my hair. I believe it was some kind of collab, but I can't remember exactly. I figured out today that of the 3 years that I've been doing YouTube, if I only did my makeup 300 out of the 365 days a year, which I probably do more than 300 days, 300 makeup looks a year, I will have done over 900 looks since being on YouTube, and that makes me feel better when I can't remember what a video was or whatever. But I love this look. I loved the silver on the lid. I love that I managed to get some soft pink up into the crease, and just the whole thing made me feel really sweet and special and cute and flirty. So that's a favorite. Number 11, favorite drugstore makeup product. And don't laugh at the state of mine because it's almost gone, but it's the number 7 Perfect Light Pressed Powder. I am trying, instead of my Precious, the Flower Beauty Light Illusion, and you can see why my face might not match my neck right now. So it's hard. It's hard with shades and online, but anyhow. Favorite drugstore makeup product, number 7, Perfect Light Pressed Powder. Mine is almost gone, so I repressed it in the center here, and you know, she's looking pretty rough. She's not even done drying yet, but let me know if you ever want a video on how to repress. But this is my favorite. I have repurchased this countless times, which will lead to a different question, but I love this. It's perfect. It's the Perfect Light Pressed Powder. It's lightweight. It works well under the eyes as well as the complexion for me, which is definitely a win. Whenever I'm testing a new concealer or a new foundation or even a new primer with foundation over top, I'm typically reaching for this powder because I know it inside and out. I know how it performs on my skin at any time of the year because I have been using this before I had my YouTube channel, which I've had for 3 years. So here you go. Favorite splurge product. This was a little bit more hard because I have a lot of beautiful things, but I also wanted something that was not just a favorite splurge makeup, it was like a worth the splurge thing as well. And that is the Smashbox Kelly Contour. I believe this has new packaging now, but it's still available. And I just love this thing. I've used this with regularity since I got it. I love that everything's included. You have a banana powder, a contour shade, a bronzing shade, 2 highlighters, and a rather neutral blush. And I love this. I love this so much. I think it's so versatile and you can really mix things up. Like when I'm a little bit more pale, I will mix the bronzer and contour together to sort of get a less bronzy effect. I've mixed the highlighters together depending on the time of the year and the tone of my skin. I have mixed these together. I have mixed these together. I have mixed the blush and the contour. So this is like an all around good versatile palette. I absolutely use it on my eyes. That's probably the most common way that I use the little bit deeper highlighter. And these powders are just so smooth and beautiful. I love that this is like floppy so that I can either fold it back or I can use it like this to do my makeup if I, back in the days where we used to travel. So anyways, this was not only worth the splurge, but it's a product that I use all the time. All right, number 13 is your most repurchased product. And again, it's this one. I have repurchased this a ton. I used to get the light shade, which had a little bit of a tint to it, but not really any coverage. It was more just like a tinted translucent powder. And then at some point I swapped over to this translucent shade. And I would say I've probably repurchased this something like 8 times at least. I probably go through a couple of them every year. And I just love these. I love that the packaging is so sleek as well. It's beautiful. It feels really nice and luxurious, and it's a fantastic powder. The next one, I'm going to try not to get a little bit emotional, but number 14 is my earliest makeup memory. And story time. My grandma, my dad's mom, used to have a little acrylic organizer for lipsticks inside of her top drawer in her bathroom, her main bathroom. And inside that little acrylic organizer were the little silver bullet Clinique lipsticks, sometimes the green, that soft green Clinique colored lipstick packaging, and just some really beautiful packages for sure. But of course I would open them up and I'd look at them. My grandma was a huge fan of magenta in general, clothes, makeup, etc. So she had quite a few fuchsia lipsticks and red. Red was the other color that she would wear regularly, and anytime she left the house she wore lipstick. She'd go into the bathroom and she'd apply it. And sometimes when I was a really little girl, she would take out those, remember those teeny tiny little Avon samples of lipstick that you used to be able to get to try a color out and decide what you wanted to purchase? My grandma, of course, purchased from Avon, and she would keep the nude colors of those little samples and she would use them on me before we left the house and when I would stay the night with her and my grandfather and things like that. And it just felt so special, like to be like 6 years old and she's putting on a little nude lipstick just ever so lightly and then making me blot as well and things like that. And that was the first time I had experienced, blotting, because my mom really never has worn much makeup. And so that was just a really special memory of my grandma and, her beautiful little bullet lipsticks. Number 15 is, what is your favorite place to purchase makeup? I had to think on this one a minute, but I ultimately decided Ulta. I love purchasing makeup from Sephora, and don't get me wrong, but I do think Ulta has a better point system in terms of, you know, cash back for money spent. And also, I just love the drugstore affordable side of Ulta and the body care and things like that. I don't purchase from a ton of the brands regularly that are on the higher end side of Ulta. So, I mean, I do tend to look through, but you know, like I don't purchase from Too Faced really anymore. I'm not interested in the brand, things like that. So anyhow, but I love the drugstore side because not only are there brands that I can't typically find in the drugstores around me, but also like there's bigger displays, you know, like NYX has like an aisle and a half worth of things, you know, as well as just such a selection of drugstore makeup. And so for that reason, I would have to say Ulta. Target was also a favorite place for me to purchase makeup, but I no longer live by Target. So number 16, the most underrated makeup you own. I don't know if this will surprise you or not, but it is the e.l.f. Pumpkin Pie Bite Size Eyeshadow Quad. And I just love this. I think this is so underrated. This bronze shade right here, I've mentioned quite a few times on my channel, is my favorite bronze in my entire collection. I do reach for this pumpkin pie palette just for this shade. It's so pretty. In fact, I plan to put this in a project pan soon because I don't think I'd have any trouble hitting pan in at least one of these shades, if not all of them, because they're all beautiful. I love the copper shimmer as well, a little deeper, obviously a little bit more orange. So I really love this palette. And my daughter bought it for me, which is an even happier memory. Now get ready for this next one. This is gonna be a doozy. And I haven't really addressed this on my channel, I don't think. Number 17, the most overrated makeup product in your collection for me, and you know I love the brand, so no tea, no shade. It's the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Matte Bronzer. Hear me out. I can feel you pulling away. The reason being that this is not special. It is a beautiful formula. It's smooth. It's blendable. It's, you know, it's a bronzer, but it's not special. I could think of at least 5 drugstore bronzers, including the number 7 one, wherever that went, that are better than this. Legitimately. Can't beat the packaging, but you can beat what's inside. I think the e.l.f. Primer Infused Bronzer is nicer than this. The Milani Silky Matte, of course the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Bronze It. I can think of a lot of other bronzers that I do reach for more than this one. I like this, but it's not one that I get excited to use because it's just average. It's like any other matte bronzer that I have used that wasn't exceptional, and it's not exceptional. And I've kind of gotten used to exceptional makeup when it comes to Charlotte Tilbury, and I don't think that was exceptional. The highlighter she brought out at holiday time in the same packaging, 10 out of 10. Very exceptional. That, not so much. I rest my case. Number 18, a discontinued product you wish would come back. I really wish that the ColourPop Good Sport palette would come back. I really do. I really want my hands on that stinking palette. I probably will try and dupe it at some point, either within my collection or out of my singles, or buy some singles to dupe out that color story, because I love that color story. It is stunning. So if I had to pick one that isn't in my collection to bring back, it would be the Good Sport palette. If I had to pick something within my collection for them to bring back, more so for you guys or anyone that didn't get the chance to purchase it, it would be the ColourPop and Kathleen Light's Dream Street palette. You know I love it. I adore this palette, and I definitely plan on working on this at some point in the year for project painting because I just want to get more use out of this palette. It has some perfect shades in here. I think this shade is like one of my perfect transition shades. I love this deep, rich, almost plummy brown and some beautiful lid shades and darkening shades. This beautiful pop of coral I have never used, but I need to. It doesn't even look like it's been swatched. That's really weird. But I love that, and if I had to bring something back that I already own, that would be it. Number 19, where do you go for makeup inspiration? For me, it is absolutely Instagram and YouTube. Whenever I get a new palette, I tend to look it up on Instagram and YouTube. YouTube, watch some videos, get some inspiration from looks that other people have created, or go look on Instagram and again, catch inspiration from those who already have the product or have duped the product or created looks with the product. So the hardest questions that Allie had to offer for this tag are the last two questions. Number 20, what do you hope to see less of in makeup's future? And for me, the answer is not anything to do with specific products or anything like that. For me, 100%, it is deceptive marketing. Really trying to take our dollars from us, whether it's in an honest way or a dishonest way. Good example is the Hourglass campaign that caused me to stop purchasing, at least I hope temporarily, from Hourglass because if I can find it, I'll put up a picture here. They had a beautiful woman of color with rich, deep skin, showed a palette that looks like it will work for her. And then if you actually see the palette in person, it would not show up on me in the summer. And I wear SPF every single day. I don't get a whole lot deeper than this during the summer. And to me, that's just not okay. That's not okay at all. I know it happens, but I also know that it happens in a deceptive way where marketing photos just don't look like what you're going to receive in person or purchase in person. And especially right now during, which shall not be named, and we're not shopping in stores as much and we're shopping more online. Putting up pictures that are deceptive of what's actually in that component of packaging is just wrong. And I would really like to see less of that. I think it's getting worse and worse, and I don't think that's cool, and especially where Hourglass is concerned, because it's a real hot button issue right now, inclusivity, which we're going to talk about next. And it's not okay to be like, look, we've come so far. We're finally being inclusive and making products for women with rich skin tones. And then you actually get the palette and it's meant for me or someone lighter than me. That's not okay. And you guys know I love Hourglass, but I cannot support a brand that would do that. All right, stepping down off my soapbox to step right back up on it. Number 21, what do you hope to see more of in makeup's future? And for me, that is inclusivity. Now, me as a white girl, I cannot say what is inclusive. I cannot say that, having half lighter shades and half darker shades is right, or even, what do I want to say? That it's going to work. Even if you do have 10 lighter shades and 10 darker shades, I think that brands need more information about undertones that work for deeper skin tones and super light skin tones for that matter, because they also have trouble finding complexion products that were made for them. And I'm so glad that we're seeing more brands come to the more accessible in the United States stores like Ulta. We have Minted Cosmetics now, Oma Beauty, and I'm so thankful for that. But everybody else needs to step up their game. I'm sorry if I seem emotional. This is it's a hot button issue, and it's a issue that's close to my heart. I don't think it's okay for someone to walk in a store and wonder if there's going to be any complexion products that would work for them. I don't think that's okay. That's not fair that everybody can't enjoy the power of makeup. I will leave that there. I really enjoyed this tag. This was super duper thought provoking, and I hope you enjoyed hearing my answers, even though this will, again, like most of my videos, be a bit of a longer one. So with all of that said, thank you so much for watching this video today. I appreciate your time and your clicking on this video, and I hope all of your makeup days are absolutely beautiful makeup days. Thank you and well done, Allie Glines, on this tag, and I will see you in my next video soon.